real wide because I want a wide serger stitch. We want to take our regular foot off. Now remember, all the other feet snap on. This one has got the whole new foot, so we're changing that. As I'm putting it on, I'm going to put this little fork up onto the needle bar, so that's going to slide right in there. At the same time, I'm going to put the foot on down here. So I come in from the back, and I can do them both at the same time. Now, when I tighten this up, don't trust your fingers to tighten that up. You don't want this loose like that. So take your little screwdriver, or you got one around the house. If the other one that comes with them is a little thumb screwdriver, but get your rig and stop any movement. Okay. Feed your thread back through the foot. Take your material, like you was going to make something, and we're going to put these two together here. But it's a little bit crooked here, so you can actually see that it's a little off. If you look at the front of your cutter system, you got 0. Anything to the right side of 0, it cuts it off. Anything on the left side of 0, it does all the sewing. Now I've already got it on my serger, number 6 on my dial. Got it on 1 stitch length, and I got it on wide. These you leave alone, automatic tension. Now, this is a finger guard to keep your fingers out of the blade of the cutter. It's got a little bar here, it sticks out. You lay your material up on top of that, not underneath it. If you put it underneath, it'll sew, but it won't cut. Now, it doesn't go all the way back to the needle. You can see here, it's not quite back as far to reach the material, but this is going to start cutting before it starts sewing like a regular serger. So here we go, and this is actually I'm cutting off a little more than what you'd need to, but at least you've got the idea how this is actually working. Everything on the right side is cut off. It's all nice and neat, a finished seam. Nothing to hang up on the top. It runs a straight stitch here and overcast with 2 threads. So when you let that out, this would be like if you was doing your shirt arms or any of that. So you can see there, this is all finished on the outside. Now all the inside is finished, so it doesn't come unraveled no more. Great job. And you can actually use these on vinyls if you're doing a boat, canvases and stuff. This is actually a piece of vinyl, so you can use it on the vinyl, and it does a great job for doing any repairs. So the stitches are all the same. The only thing, this has got more power. It also shows you all your little accessories. Now some of you this week, they give you a free motion foot, and it looks like this. It's a little bar with a spring on it. You might not have ever seen one of these before. What they're designed for is free movement. You're the one that's controlling where it goes. So we're going to take our regular foot off. This becomes my new foot right here. Tighten up the screw again, and again, don't trust your fingers. Get as tight as you can turn there, and then take your screwdriver, and you can see it turns a little further. Now, with this foot on there, as it's sewing, this foot's jumping up and down on the material. So we're going to set it just on straight stitch for a minute, and we're good to go. Okay? So if you got into a hard to get spot, pant cuff or a sleeve or an elbow, you get up in here, you have no room here to turn your material, so it'll sew forwards and backwards, but this one I actually will sew sideways. You can actually put a patch right underneath. Patch to do, no problem. Any of you want to do some embroidery stitches, turn your zigzag on a wide. I'll go up about 3 or 4. Then you can actually monogram. Not bad for just by my hands, okay? So now, this one's also got your sleeve that slides over the arm. And all the stitches are the same now. If I turn it to number 2, that's my zigzag. Number 3 is that elastic stitch for the stretchy materials. You remember that. And it'll stretch real far so it doesn't break the threads. And if you turn it to 0, it makes a good darning stitch. This is a blind hem stitch. Stretchier materials or just flat material like cottons and some of the things that doesn't stretch. Number 6 is my serger stitch that I just showed you. Okay, and that's one with the V's that points to the right. And then it's got a little bit of scallops, the same thing as the other one. And the buttonhole works the same way, and you still get the buttonhole foot. The bobbin winders wind the same. You don't have a wheel on the top side to turn no more. Now, if you've got the professional model is next to me here. Now, if you look at the machine, on this threading, it's the same thing as we showed you on the other 2. Now, I'm using the bigger spools of thread, which is cheaper for you to buy it that way. These thread stands you can actually order from our company. And, of course, you got the number from us. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here's a little loop, 5. And head for the needle. There's one here, and there's another one here at the bottom, and you're good to go. Now, the nice thing with this one, this has got a needle threader on it. Let's pull this sleeve off, and again, inside this little tray, when you open it up the front, is where you're going to find all your little goodies. Okay? Now, this one's a little nicer. This one, all you do is, if I wanted to thread a needle, is pull this little bar down, hold it right there, put your thread right here, let go of the bar, and that pulls it through the hole for you. Well, I missed it. You'll miss them too once in a while. But there it is. Let go of the bar, it pulls it through the needle, and you got it threaded. Alright? Now the bobbins work the same way as the other one. This pops it open. You can take it out. Just drop it in. Pull it in that slot, back to your left, and you're good to go. Now, on the pattern selector, it's the same thing. If you see the black stitches, there's straight stitch, zigzag, elastic stitches. It's the same as the other ones were on the black stitches. Now, if you notice on these, that this one actually has a blue stitch on there. And if you look in here, if you turn it up on the your length of stitch, if you leave it between the 0 and the 4, it'd be the same as the other 2 machines, but this one will turn to super. Super then will give you all the blue stitches that's on that dial. And what we'll do, we'll go through a few of them. We'll hook this back up. And this does a lot of embroidery stitches for you. Okay, now if I turn it to this second one, which is an elastic stitch, if I leave it in the black, it's going to be the same as the other machine. Have my width on, that's my zigzag. But if I turn this to super, it does a rick-rack stitch. It actually triples the weight of the thread. This next one, if I leave it in the black, like the first 2 machines, that's that elastic stitch that we talked about with the other machine. But if I turn this to super stitch, that changes that from an elastic stitch to what they call a smocking stitch. Some of them call it a honeycomb. And so forth. Let's go over here once. Now, if I turn it to my buttonhole and go to the left ones are the 2 serger stitches on this one. The black one would be the same as I showed you on the first machine. This one's got the blue one, which was actually adds more thread while it's sewing. So now we'll just go in here a couple more embroidery stitches. If I turn it around to like this one, if I left it in the black, it's doing a black stitch. But when I turn it back over to super, or the blue stitch, this makes a feather stitch. And you notice you can actually turn these dials while you're running them. Everything's going. This one's called a crisscross stitch. And what it's doing, all them little quilt stitches people used to do by hand. This machine does them for you. So don't make it difficult on the machine, because this is really easy to use. Now see the black ones, I didn't do. I done the blue one. If I turn this over to the black or the gray colors, then it's going to make this little domino effect. If I turn it over to this black one, it's called a ribbon stitch. And you notice here I can turn this dial while it's still running. Okay, now the buttonholer on this one, we want to go on some real nice detail on this, because this is important. This becomes my new foot, so now I only have to snap this one off. This just snaps back on like this. I've got it set on buttonhole, just turn that to buttonhole. But remember, you got to be down into a low number if you want them nice and tight. So all you do is wherever you want to put your buttonhole on, the first bar you pull down for your needle threader. The second bar back here has got a picture of the buttonhole on, and it's got the word push. You're good to go. So now it's going to run up one side of the buttonhole. I'm not doing anything, hands-free. Just doing all the work. Come back, do the other side. All in one step. Buttonhole's done. All you got to do is take your little seam ripper, open her up, and you're done. Don't forget to put your little bar back up. That'll kick it back into a sewing machine. Now we'll pop this off. Put your regular foot back on. And we're back on to regular sewing. So now we'll show you the serger. Now serger, remember, it's left of the buttonhole on this one. On the other two, it's number 6, or the one with the V's that point to the right. This one's got the ones with the V's to the right. That's the same stitch that's using over there. Now, when I'm doing this one, you've seen the cutter work, so the cutter works the same way as I did. So I just want to show you the stitch that this one does. And there's times that you won't need anything cut off. You won't use your cutter if you're just using it this way. But if I put the cutter on, it fastens on the same way as the other machines. Turn this to super, and you're good to go. Left of the buttonhole. If I left it in the black, it'll do the 2-set thread serge. Now it's actually doing 4. It's stepping up, and it's actually doing your looper for you. If I could stop it and let you look inside the machine, you're going to see not just 2 threads that we started with, like this, but it's actually sewing with more thread. There's actually 4 threads. Now the 2 that coming out now is called a looper, and you'll see the loop on it just like a regular serger. Okay, so it's actually sewing with 4 threads. So now to comparison, is there. Now when you're looking at the stitch, you can actually see how much heavier that it does the serging stitch with the professional series. Okay, one extra note here, this one, of course, the book shows you all your accessories. These are all included in this little front tray again. These are some optional feet. With the middle machine or the first teacher model, we give you that free motion foot. You're also going to get that with this one. Plus, these weeks now, they're actually going to give you, where you had to buy all these extra little feet, a kit that's got them all in. Now what they are, this is a gathering foot. This is a walker foot for people doing quilting. Helps feed the material through. It's got teeth on it. This is the same thing as the little plastic free motion foot I showed you, but this is metal. This is a blind hem stitch gauge, so it makes it a lot easier for you to gauge your blind hemmer. The little needle that's in here is a twin needle. It's got 2 needles on it for a double seam. This is a clear foot for quilters like to see what they're doing inside the foot. This is a rolled hem foot. This is a small, what they call a pin tuck foot, and this is a small cording foot for doing upholstery. This is just a straight stitch 1/4 inch foot. It's just got the straight stitch hole in it. Now, if you didn't get any of these, you can get them for all 3 machines and order them. Any of these feet that you need will run you somewhere around $19.95 each if you order them. A lot of our places like Joann's and things like that, you can buy them there. Okay, you can call us also on our toll-free number. But this week, as a bonus with the professional model, you get every one of these. Now, in the DVD, I haven't gone over these a lot, but we've got it on YouTube. If you go to YouTube on your computer and ask for a gathering foot, it'll come on with a little detailed DVD like I've done on just that foot. Or if you need some more information on that free motion foot, they've got them on them. Any one of these, the walker foot, all that's on YouTube. Okay, so this is your professional model. It's the 5523 series, and we made the